Hi guys, hope all of you are doing fine. In this video I'm going to recommend you 10 manhwa or webtoons that you must read. So let's make it and start the video. Main character joins a school of affiliates where students have abilities like shock or fire etc. where MC has no ability at all and is bullied by others. So this story is about how MC lives through all his problems without having any ability. The single issue keeping it from near perfection is how much things are dragged out. So that's a bit sketchy, but overall it's brilliant. So I hope you'll check it out. Mujang follows Kevon, an orphan boy who becomes tangled up in conspiracies and coup d'etats on the path to revenge for the death of his older brother. Kevon shows excellent martial arts skills that can best every opponent he comes across, which eventually catches the attention of the military. The story itself has major time skips, varying between when he is a teenager to well into adulthood. The skips can be quite abrupt but help to move the story along. Overall, it has pretty likable characters, great storyline, and pretty remarkable fight scenes. The story is about a young man who sets forth to avenge his master, who was once a powerful martial artist who was betrayed by his own men and barely escaped with his life. Armed with his master's supreme martial art techniques, he is ready to bring terror and wreak havoc among the Muri. But before he even got started, he learns that the ones who had betrayed his masters are already dead. So what happens now? The description was like that, but overall if I tell you about it, that the first season for the this webtoon is very great and enjoyable, but when the second season starts it kind of gets repetitive, so it might get hard to read it, but overall it has great storyline and especially the art, it's great, you will love it. Lookism is a webtoon which pulls out the dirty truth about discrimination in our society, where we view people based upon their first look and assign them a certain status. If you are attractive, you are successful, and if you are not, you are loser. The stories like that Park Hyung-suk, overweight and unattractive, is bullied out and abused on daily basis, but a miracle is about to happen. He turns into a skinny guy. Overall, it's a very good manga. The characters are very good, but the villains are complete opposite. The plot is very solid, but the only drawback for this webtoon is that it contains very extreme scenes. So you should only read this when you are 18 plus. He is a matchless dad who knows the will of the heavens. Thus begins a new story from the author of Red Storm. It is an amazing story about one martial artist's journey through marriage, fatherhood, and battles, featuring a badass master, family-oriented MC, and a tragic backstory. Overall, this webtoon is one of my favorite webtoons that I love to read weekly. The art is great, the coloring is very well done, and also the best thing is that the chapter comes on time. Red Storm is about Julian Provoke, the young law of the tribe Paria, who dreams of becoming the strongest warrior of the Red Desert. The story follows his life as he tries to not only make himself strongest warrior but also create a super strong warrior group called Red Storm and unite the desert tribes under one nation. In Red Storm, the setting is based mostly in desert and the various desert tribes inhabit the giant desert. So many of the characters shown in the series are either warriors or the chieftains of each desert tribe known as Glow. In the group of Julian Provoke, you will see a smart guy a slacker, a musclehead, and a chill one. Overall, it is very fine. The only thing that I don't like about Red Storm is that after 20 or 30 chapters, it turned black and white only. At first, you will face difficulties in getting accustomed to it, but I assure you that after some time, you will get accustomed to it and will start to enjoy it. At number 4 is The God of High School. This manhwa is pretty awesome with its great plot and drawings. Its style of story feels like a Japanese manga. Besides, this is a tournament style manhwa, which I am a huge fan of. The story follows Mori Jin, who was raised by Jin Taijin, his adopted grandfather, and has never known defeat, and this piques the interest of God of High School committee. And one of the representatives is sent to recruit him, and soundly defeats him for the first time ever. During the initial competitions, which seeks to determine the strongest martial artist and strongest style, the prize for the winner of the tournament is that his one wish will be granted. He eventually befriends some of his former competitors, mainly Dai Wai Han and Mirai Yu. The story is very great, and especially the art is very awesome. The plot is very great and the art is very captivating. Solo Leveling tells us the story of a world where people have different powers to hunt monsters. Sung Jin Woo becomes a hunter so he can support his family. But he is a very low level hunter and doesn't have any abilities. So one day while going through a gate, they get trapped in it and accidentally Sung Jin Woo unlocks a hidden power, and the story follows how he becomes from weakest to strongest of all. It has by far one of the greatest and best art style that you will ever see in webtoons or manhwas. So I totally recommend it. Noblesse is an amazing Korean manhwa about a man named Roy who awakens after being asleep for 820 years. After he awakens, he takes on the look of a high school student and unknowingly meets an acquaintance of his named Frankenstein, who also happens to be the chairman of the school he wandered into. From then on, Roy decides to stay enrolled to the school as a student in order to learn about the 820 years he happened to miss, all the while making new friends at the school, learning about new technology, customs, and of course the food. The story may sound dense, but in fact it is very entertaining. The main character eventually takes on enemies, and little by little their identities are revealed. The art is very great, and you will notice that it progresses from chapters to chapters and it becomes better and better and better. The story is like that the Tower of God is the world and there is no outside. But despite that, there is Bam, who has lived his entire life beneath tower, alone in the darkness. Till one day a girl named Rachel fell down the roof. Rachel taught him to speak, read, play, games, everything. Bam couldn't be happier, but Rachel wanted to escape the darkness. Bam begs her to stay, but she insists to break into the tower to fulfill her wish to see the stars. Once again, alone in darkness, Bam decides to break into the tower, catch up with Rachel, and try to convince her to return with. Although it might sound like a dense storyline, but I assure you that it has a very great plot and you will see many plot twists and thriller moments in it. Also, at first the art is not great, but it keeps better, and when you compare season 1 and season 2, you will see that both are very different from each other. If you guys like the video, then do subscribe and press the bell icon.